Okay. I am now recording. Everyone add these. I'm sorry, this is actually a subtraction problem, but the rules are the same. Everyone subtract these, just like I showed you. Since the exponents are the same, you're literally subtracting these two first numbers. And then 10 to the third power is part of the answer. Good, Colin. Good, Rylan. All right, so good, Ashlyn. Good, Colton. But it's a times, and part of your answer is a times. Good, 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 good. Yep, so 7.5 minus 1.8 is 5.7. And then part of your answer is times 10 to the third. Okay, scientific notation is always multiplied by a power of 10. Nope, we're writing in scientific notation. Scientific notation. Okay. All right, that one was easy. Got it? When the exponents are the same, the problems are much easier. All right, so these, look at these two problems. Neither of the exponents are the same. So you are not allowed to add or subtract until the exponents are the same, okay? So Colin had a little panic attack and scared me to death. So what we're going to do is we have to make those exponents be the same. We're either going to make them both a 4 or we have to make them both a 5. So what are we going to do? Well, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to remember LARS. If we add to our exponents, that means we move our decimal to the left. If we subtract from our exponent, we need to move our decimal to the right. Okay, so what do you want to use? 4 or 5? Hold up your fingers. 4 or 5? 4 or 5? 4 or 5? 4? Okay, we'll make a 4. So we're going to change this one to a 4. So since we subtracted from the 5, that means we move our decimal to the right. Okay, so now we're going to add plus 92 times 10 to the 4th. So once our exponents are the same, we get to bring down 10 to the 4th. We get 98 times 10 to the 4th. What's wrong with that answer? What is wrong with that answer? It's not.
There's 2 of them in front of the decimal.
So now we got to move our exponent, I'm sorry, our decimal to the left to get the decimal in the right spot. And since we're moving it left, we're going to add 1 to our exponent. And our answer is 10 to the 5th. Okie dokie. That's how you do it without a calculator. You have to make your exponents the same. All right, on the bottom one, our exponents are not the same. So are we going to turn them both into 7s or both into 5s? What would you like to do?
5.
7? Oh, Rylan said 7 and Isaiah said 5 at the same time. All right, Ashlyn just gave the breaking vote, the breaking tie vote, or you know what I mean. She said 7, so we're going to do a 7. Okay, so that means we're going to add 2 to this exponent, which means if we add 2, that means we have to move our decimal left 2 places. So our decimal was here, we got to move it left 2 places, okay? So we're actually adding 8.54, 8.54 and 0.02. And both of these now have an exponent 10 to the 7th. And now we know that 10 to the 7th is part of our answer. And when we add, we get 8.56 times 10 to the 7th. Bam, done. How's that? Not too bad, right? Boom, Ashlyn said. Boom. Okie dokie. So that's how you add or subtract with scientific notation. Okay, now look at this problem closely. There is an error. What happened?
They added
I-
this.
What?
They added the exponents to each other.
They did. You are not ever allowed to add or subtract those exponents in a addition or subtraction problem, okay? So part of this answer should be 10 to the 7th, and then it looks like everything else is right. So be careful. That's a very easy mistake to make. All right, let's see what's next. All right, now multiplying and dividing with scientific notation is actually a little simpler, just like when you multiply and divide fractions versus adding and subtracting fractions. It's a little easier because the exponents don't have to be the same. In fractions, you don't have to have a common denominator, okay? So here's a 7-minute video if you're doing your work later and you need to watch the video. So we do have to remember our exponent rules, okay? So what do you do when you have two bases? If you have two numbers that have the same base that are being multiplied together, what is the rule? What do you do with those exponents?
Add them.
You add them. So that's why we learned our exponent rules before we learned scientific notation, because when you're multiplying 10 to the 2nd times 10 to the 5th, hopefully you remember the answer is 10 to the 7th, okay? Now the rest of the problem is what we get when we multiply 1.7 times 2.4. In this situation, it's 4.08.
I have a question.
Yo.
What happens if there was no parentheses? Do we just do it normally?
If you know it's supposed to be an order of operation, and okay, so order of operations makes you always multiply or divide before adding and subtracting, right? So if you have scientific notation, multiplying and dividing with or without parentheses, the answer is the same. But if you're adding or subtracting, I think I just said that wrong. If you have scientific notation, multiplying or dividing, and if you don't put parentheses, the answers are going to end up being the same. But if it's an addition or subtraction problem and you forget the parentheses, you're going to get the wrong answer if you put it in a calculator without the parentheses, because your calculator will automatically multiply and divide before it will add and subtract. Okay? Okay. All right, so this problem ended up pretty easy because after we multiplied, we got a number that was automatically in scientific notation, so we don't have to change anything and we're done. We're done with that one. All right, so let's look at, remember the exponent rules when multiplying and dividing by the same base. With multiplication, you add those exponents. What's 5 plus -2?
This is multiplication.
It is multiplication.
All right. I sorry, got confused.
3.
Yeah, so 5 plus -2 is 3. So we know our exponent is a 3. Now, what is 5.7 times 1.8? Who can tell me? What's 5.7 times 1.8?
13.5.
13.5. So 13.5. And we said our
You
x,
did it backwards.
I'm doing it backwards.
You said 5.7.
5.7. Oh, I did, didn't I, Ashlyn? Oh my goodness. Thank you for listening to me. And sorry if I confuse you. So that is the final answer. Oh, is it? Is that written correctly in scientific notation?
Yeah.
Is it? Look at it. What's wrong with that answer?
The decimal wasn't in front.
Yep. We have two numbers in front of the decimal, which means we have to move the decimal to the left. And when we move to the left, what do we do with our exponents?
Add.
Add. So we moved it left 1. So we're going to add 1. So the final answer is 3.15 times 10 to the 4th. Okie dokie. So multiplying and dividing is easy as far as the exponents don't have to be the same, but you always have to double check your final answer and make sure it's written in scientific notation form. How do we feel out there, guys? All right, so if you don't have the calculator I'm talking about, this is the way you do these, okay? But I am going to show all of you how to do it with a calculator, and your calculator does all the work for you. Okay, now with these two problems, well, let's go ahead and do these longhand. Let's go ahead and you guys send me the answers to these. So on this one, obviously, we're just dividing 9 and 3. What do you do with those exponents when they're being divided to have the same base? What's the rule?
You subtract them.
You subtract them. We're only using calculators. We're not using websites, right? Good, Hayden. Nice. Good, Colin. Good, Ashlyn. Yeah. All right, are y'all subtracting these? You're supposed to be subtracting them, right? All right, so 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 10 to the 7 minus 5 is 2. And is this answer in scientific notation? It is. We're good. 3 or 3.0, same thing. Okay. Any questions? All right, the next one, we would multiply 6 times 9.2, and we would get 55.2 times 10 to the what? What do we start out with? 9 originally, good. And then when we move this left, we're going to add 1. So then we get 5.52 times 10 to the 10th. Good. Good, Hayden. All right, any questions? All righty. All right, so now go ahead and get your calculator, please. And I'm going to show you how to put your calculator in scientific notation. So hopefully you have this Texas Instrument Multiview calculator, right? Good. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is clear it. So let's clear your calculator by pressing on and clear at the same time. Clear it out. All right, so now we're going to go to mode. So up at the top next to the second button. So can you see my screen? Everyone's going to hit the mode button. Hit the mode button. And then we're going to arrow down to SCI. So once you hit the mode button, this screen comes up on your calculator. Everybody see what I'm talking about? So this part right here on the screen that's dark says SCI. So everyone arrow down and to the right until it's blinking on the SCI. And now hit enter. All right, when you hit enter, you just put your calculator on scientific notation mode. So how do we get out of that screen? All we're going to do is hit the word clear. Now, the way you know it's in scientific notation mode is at the very top of your screen. You can barely see it, but if you squint, it should say SCI. Does your calculator say SCI? Okay, that means your calculator's in scientific notation mode. Okay, if you're trying to do regular math and it's giving you crazy answers, that's because it's still in scientific mode. And the way to get it off of that is by clearing your calculator again. Okay, but if you see that SCI, that means now we're in scientific notation. All right, so let's practice. Like I said, to get it out of scientific notation mode, then you're just going to clear your calculator again by hitting on and clear at the same time. All right, so we're going to practice this problem on the screen. Now, we are going to practice every single time we put these in, you must use the parentheses. Okay, so everyone, let's use our parentheses, and then I want you to type 4.12. Don't get ahead of me, please. Stay with me. After you hit 4.12, you're going to press the button that says times 10 to the nth power, and it's right here on your calculator. Okay, so hit that. And now your exponent box should be blinking. Is your exponent box blinking? Now you're going to input your 5 right here in the math problem. And then you have to right arrow to get out of the exponent and then end your parentheses. Okay, good. You ended your parentheses. Now everybody hit times. And now we're going to do the next number, parentheses 2.8. Hit our times x to the n power button. Type 4. Right arrow to get out of the parentheses. To get out of the exponents, and then hit the parentheses again and hit enter. And it tells you the answer in scientific notation is 1.1536 times 10 to the 10th. Everybody show me your screen. Excellent, Darius. Good, Colton. Colin, did you get it? Good. Hayden, do you have one of these? No. Who else has one? Caleb? Thought y'all had one. Oh, Isaiah. I'm afraid. I don't know how to use your calculator, buddy. That one's very complicated.
I figured out how to put it inside scientific notation mode, but I have no clue what you just said. Like how to do the 10 x 10 and
No, okay, so you don't have to use this button, Isaiah. Okay? So if you are doing it and you have scientific notation mode, go ahead and you have parentheses, right, Isaiah?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so do parentheses 4.12 and then just hit the regular multiplication tab and then type 10 to the power of 5. Is that working?
How do you put the power to 5?
Well, our calculators have a caret button that looks like this. I bet you have this, or you have a button that has, I don't know, x to the nth or something like that.
Yes, I have that button.
Okay, so put your parentheses 5, and then you probably have to arrow right. And then finish the rest of it. So you don't have to use this button. Even those of us that have this calculator that I'm talking about, you don't have to use this button. You can just type times 10, and do the exponent that way. And then Isaiah, let me know if you end up with this answer after putting all of it in. Yeah, it takes a little practice, guys. Especially a lot of people will mess up and forget to come out of the exponent by using the arrow key, and then it'll give you some sort of error message when you hit enter. Okay, so let's practice another one. We're going to practice another one. All right, so if you don't have a calculator, I showed you how you have to do the math problems, right? When you're adding and subtracting, you guys have to convert these so that the exponents are the same in adding and subtracting. And then without a calculator, after you do all the math, you have to make sure your answers in scientific notation is in the correct format. All right, so those with, whether you have a calculator or not, I want all of you to practice these problems and text me your answers.
We have to do all of them, or is
No,
there
we're not going to have time to do all of them, but I want you to practice. Everybody pick one multiplication, one addition, one subtraction and one quotient problem. I just want you guys to practice and let me see what your questions are right now before we have to get off Zoom. If you have the calculator, you can use your fraction button and you can key this in exactly the way you see it. Use your N over D button and key it in exactly how it's written on the screen. And one more warning, if you try to use the subtraction problem, if you have negative exponents, if you try to use the subtraction button instead of the negative button, it will tell you made an error. All right, so there's several answers on the board or the screen, whatever. How you guys feeling about this? Good? Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys. So if y'all have what is today? Today is Wednesday. So I won't see y'all again until Friday. I know, don't cry. Hey, everybody wish Ashlyn a happy birthday tomorrow. Should we sing to her? I think we should. Let's sing. You want to? All right, everyone unmute yourselves. I'll just keep the recording on so we can go down in history of our beautiful voices. Are you ready? Unmute yourself. Everyone go. Me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashlyn. Happy birthday to you. Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I know that's the best birthday gift you've ever received, and you're welcome for that. Isaiah, wow. Colin, y'all have great voices. I love it.
Yeah.
We should start a choir. We should start a virtual choir, you guys. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.
I know what we can use the virtual choir for
What?
FTA. FTA
Ooh.
to sing pairs.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, Caleb, you loved it. You know you did. All right. Good to see you guys. All right. So I think Darius needed some help. Isaiah needed a little help. And I think Connor's on here because he needed a little help. So Caleb, did you have a question, buddy? No, you good? Okay. All right, so let's see. Isaiah and Darius. Darius wanted to go over, let's see, translations. Is that what it was? Okay, Isaiah, what was your question, buddy?
It was about the last week assignment that I asked you about.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Exponents, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so have you tried, since you do have that fancy schmancy calculator? Oh, I think I'm still recording. Let me stop this.